Hey guys, what's going on? Steven back again, and I'm back with another 40k video from Major Kill. It's been a while since I've done a Major Kill video. I've missed doing his videos, but the topic for today's video is every time a demon Primarch was banished, explained. Obviously, the most recent one was when the Lion fought Angron. I hear that was a very brutal and intense fight, and I believe the Lion won by, bashing Angron's skull in with the shield that he got. So, damn. That's pretty brutal. Just imagine getting your head bashed in with a shield. Ugh. As for what other demon Primarchs have been banished and by who and how, I don't know. So I'm very curious to learn about that. So yeah, let's just jump right into the video, shall we? Here we go.
G'day guys and gal. If there is one thing Games Workshop hates, it's New Zealand. But they also aren't big fans of killing off important characters in their setting. They like having stories with big stakes, but don't want to kill off a character that has a model, as they believe it will hurt the sales of said model. Remember, the lore is to support the game is not to support the lore.
Okay. I can definitely see that. So I'm kind of half and half on that. You know, I'm sure there are some people out there who, you know, even if a certain character gets killed off, will probably still buy that model anyways, because, I mean, hey, that's a pretty cool looking model. I'd still like to have it. Then you got another half who, you know, maybe play a certain faction or chapter because of the lore and because of certain characters. You know, hey, I want to play this Space Marine chapter because, hey, my Primarch is alive in the current setting. You know, maybe it's Gilliman or the Lion, so I'll play Ultramarines or Dark Angels because, hey, my Primarch is here. Or maybe they play another chapter or something like that because, hey, my Primarch is, even though he's not back, but he's still alive. So he could come back, and then, you know, I kind of want to, you know, be part of that lore, if you will. You know, so I mean, if you do kill off like a certain character, you know, yeah, maybe some people will be like, no, that's okay. I mean, this character's dead now. I mean, going forward in the lore, he's not going to be doing anything at all. So, I mean, yeah, 50-50. I mean, I'm sure it would still hurt the sales. Like, just imagine if, I don't know, a random demon Primarch was just gone. You know, Angron's dead. There you go. No more Angron model. You know, how would all those people who, you know, feel about that? Like, hey, now your Primarch is dead. You know, no more demon Primarch. Would they still play, you know, World Eaters? Maybe not. You know, I'll go to the Death Guard. Their demon Primarch is still alive. He's still got a model. I'll go play them instead. You know, who knows? I mean, but it's something. Do you want to gamble on that? Which is why I'm kind of 50-50 on this topic here. I mean, obviously, I think if it was to happen, it would not happen for a very, 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 very long time. But I'm 50-50 on, since Games Workshop is obviously a business and they're all about making money, I could potentially see them maybe bringing in the Lost Primarchs. Very, very far down the road, probably after all the other Primarchs have already returned and stuff like that. I'm kind of 50-50 on maybe they would bring them back. Because that would be, you know, that'd be money. Like, just imagine, like, all the books that would be written, you know, hey, what happened to them? Where have they been? What have they been doing, you know, for all these years and stuff like that? Was one of them in the dark cells, you know, underneath? Did they let him out? Why? And then, of course, what would his model look like and stuff like that? Would he get a new chapter? What would his chapter look like? And then would a bunch of people all of a sudden want to start buying, you know, models and stuff like that? And the Primarch is, hey, it's new and shiny. It's the new shiny thing. So, you know, just imagine if all of a sudden this brand new, you know, Primarch comes out, he's got a badass looking model, the Imperium's like, all right, all is forgiven, here's your whole new chapter, and they're all decked out, and I don't know, wings and capes, and they just look really new and shiny. Would people just be like, ooh, there's the new shiny thing, I want to go play with the new shiny thing, and then start buying up all that stuff? Money, but then of course you run into the lore issue of how would you bring them back, and then how would you write all that? Like, okay, assuming one or both are still alive, yes, we have no idea, unless they are both dead, or maybe one is dead, one is still alive, one's in dark cells, don't know. But then how do you write the lore of how do you bring them back, or one back, and just what would their lore be like? What did they do, or one of them do, that was so bad that they need to get completely erased from existence? No mentions, no records, no statues, no pictures, no nothing. Just completely erased. Like, what would it be that was so bad that needed to be happened, that happened? Meanwhile, you got the Horus Heresy. Everybody knows about, Horus, what he did, going traitor and then taking half of his brothers with him and starting the biggest galactic civil war the Imperium has ever seen, and costing the lives of trillions of people, lasting for, what was it, like 10 years or something like that? But yet everybody knows about Horus and stuff like that, his name is still there, and yet he caused the biggest galactic civil war and brutally almost killing the Emperor. What could be worse than that? There are records of that happening. What could have been worse than that to get completely erased from existence? Oh, well, this Primarch here, he felt sympathy for this Xenos race. Really? That's your big thing? That needed to get completely erased from existence? He felt sympathy for this random Xenos race, so we gotta erase him from existence? Meanwhile, we just had a massive galactic civil war. So, yeah, that's why I'm kind of 50-50 on that, because I think whatever lore they come with probably wouldn't, be like, really? That's it? That's the reason? But that money, that new and shiny thing might be enough to, maybe bring him back. So, who knows? But yes, I do agree with him. Killing off a character could hurt that model. And of course, Games Workshop as a business, that's what it's all about. Money.
As a way to get around this, GW has more or less given everyone the ability to return to life. Necrons are rebuilt,
yep.
Phoenix Lords can reincarnate, Dark Eldar can be remade, Imperials can be revived, and demons reform in the warp after banishment. Basically, everyone can be killed off without being killed off. So instead of whining about it, let's embrace it, and check out each and every time a Demon Primarch was banished. Before we get started, tragically, there is no new major mini release today. In fact, we're actually discontinuing a model in the next 48 hours, the Space Elf Demon Hunter. Awesomely crafted, but being sent to Valhalla, so if you wanted him, now's your last chance. We will not be releasing him or his STL ever again. We're also hard at work fulfilling the Last of the Fallen Angel of Blood orders, and I want to make sure those are sorted before we keep pumping out new models. Some of the stuff we have coming is nuts. However, with our new pre-painted mini service being independent from our model selling, I thought I would shine a light on that today instead. I have partnered up with West Coast Paint Studio to allow you guys to get a major mini professionally painted and delivered to your door for a fraction of what other studios cost. That is because the models are cheaper than GW models. You don't need to ship your model here and then have it
the
ship back and do
colors.
double handling, and the studio itself is very efficient with their time and costings. How it works is you can pick one of 3 painting tiers. Battle Ready, which is a cleanly painted, based and ready to play model.
That looks
This
sick.
Shark Daddy, for example, as you can see, it has minor OSL, is based, and has some basic shading and highlighting, but nothing too crazy beyond that. However, it's clean, and it literally costs under $100 USD, which includes the price of the model. That is insane value. Then there is Grade Standard. This includes advanced OSL, armor effects like chipping, scratches, and snow, with full shading and highlighting. This is the kind of standard you want your HQ units painted to, something you can show off to your mates. For example, this Wolf Lord or this Grey Slayer. This Magma King Orc was Parade Standard as well. This tier is still very economical, with the Grey Slayer only costing around $120, including the price of the model. Then we have the Ultra Pro Standard, where an artist and pro painter spends a considerable amount of time on your model, using NMM, advanced OSL, volumetric highlighting, the kind of model you could see at a painting competition. We haven't got a finished demo of that yet, but this Big E is a work in progress. As you can see, it's added lightning effects to it, and it looks stunning despite not even being finished. We've just opened new slots, so there is a fair amount of
looks so cool, and of course,
right now. You will not be disappointed.
Power Claw.
We still also have like 6 pre-painted models from the previous painters, all heavily discounted, that are ready to ship right now. So if you like any of them and can't be stuck waiting for a custom paint job, then you can grab those right now. Link is below. So down over each time the Trader Primarch was banished, we will not include
some pretty
the true
cool stuff right
Primarchs like Conrad, Alpharis, or Horus, and they must specifically get banished, not just driven off or hurt or whatever. Let's get into it. So the first round of banishments all happened within an extremely close time frame of one another, like pretty much back to back, simultaneously almost. This is because it was during the Siege of Terra, and the Primarchs were punching on left, right, and center. There were 4 Demon Primarchs deployed on the surface. Angron was the Trader's living battering ram, an unstoppable force that was sweeping aside all before him. Mortarion, who hung back and directed the Trader war effort from the ground after Perturabo abandoned the siege. He had concocted a plague of despair that made every
so he was like the
defender want to
commander.
give up, with many of them killing themselves. Even Rogel was on the brink. Then there was Magnus, performing a mighty spell in the webway, which weakened the Emperor's wards and allowed demons to approach the inner sanctum and even manifest there. Then of course there was Fulgrim, who was furiously masturbating and not doing much else. 3 of the Demon Primarchs were devastating the Loyalists, and all 3 had to be stopped if there was any chance of survival for the Emperor. The first of 4 was Mortarion. He was content to hold back his forces, let the Traitors and Loyalists kill each other,
yeah,
and
his lore is kind of
take
wonky.
control, having the strongest legion remaining. However, Jagadai knew that unless Mortarion fell and the Plague of Despair was broken, the Loyalists were doomed. Morty also guarded the Lionsgate spaceport, something the Loyalists needed to retake if they wanted Gilliman to be able to land his forces. Not to mention, the spaceport also had massive orbitable guns that could threaten Horus's fleet. Jagadai led his White Scars as well as thousands of tanks in one of the most daring counterattacks in the entirety of Warhammer. Even the Traitors were impressed. The White Scars fought with the fury and honor of their legion. The Death Guard fought with their unstoppable resilience. Jagadai used storm magic to teleport to Mortarion and engage him in battle directly. Now Mortarion was physically stronger and had the gifts of the warp, but Jagadai is the motherfucking Khan. He fought like a tank, absorbing Mortarion's attacks, getting his shit kicked in. Morty was so aggressive that even as a demon he wore himself out. Jagadai beat him to a pulp. But then something incredible happened. Jagadai rallied and attacked Morty with renewed vigor. A storm reawoken. Mortarion's fatigue had set in and he was shocked. Jagadai was broken, yet still managed to dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge, eventually going for a killing strike. Mortarion intercepted him and impaled him on this scythe. Jagadai laughed, blood spraying from his mouth, before he then cut off Morty's head, giving his brother his first banishment. This also broke the Curse of Despair and shocked the Death Guard, who were slaughtered in their thousands by the berserk vengeful White Scars.
That's actually pretty badass.
Then it was Magnus's turn. Vulcan entered the webway to find and kill Magnus. He eventually found his brother, who initially just Vulcan, misdirecting him, teleporting him into pocket dimensions, and just being a little bitch. Vulcan's tenacity saw him literally smash his way out of every illusion and trick until Magnus was forced to fight him directly. Magnus killed Vulcan over and over again with every method physically conceivable, but Vulcan rose time and time again, getting in a few hits before he was killed. However, out of the 2 brothers, only one of them was truly unstoppable, and it wasn't Magnus. Vulcan died 1,000 deaths, but each one saw him land another blow on Magnus.
It's going to be interesting to see Vulcan return. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
The Emperor himself projected his form into the webway to watch the fight, much to Magnus's horror.
Ooh, damn, I gotta watch this. This is getting good. Popcorn. This is getting good.
It would unravel Vulcan's DNA. It wouldn't just kill him, it would tear him apart atom by atom. He hit Vulcan with a spell. Vulcan's body tore itself apart. His skin sloughed off. His eyes exploded. But he didn't stop. The flaming black skeleton of Vulcan swung his hammer so hard it exploded Magnus's head. Vulcan would regenerate from this attack, although it took him a lot longer than usual. As he walked through the webway back to the throne room, he kept dying mid-walk as his newly regenerated heart would explode. He would then revive and keep walking. He spent most of this walk as a skeleton. Finally, it was Angron's turn.
Damn!
When he slew Kabunda, the greatest of Khorne's true sons, Angron attacked. The two brothers fought in a vicious duel. Angron had the strength and power, Sanguinius had the speed and finesse. Sanguinius landed mortal blow after mortal blow, stabbing Angron in the heart, cutting off his face, skewering him with his spear, but the Lord of the Red Sands would not die. He was being hyper-empowered by the bloodshed happening all around. So Sanguinius performed a
blood's getting spilled, so
allowed Angron to impale him with
whatever.
his sword through Sanguinius' guts. Angron looked at his dying brother, face to face, fascinated. The angel kept whispering, "Angron, Angron," with a mouthful of blood. He then stroked Angron's face. All the while, Horus was psychically screaming at Angron to finish Sanguinius, to kill the angel.
How
Angron
did
ignored his
Sanguinius
weakling
survive
destiny from
that?
Horus. He wanted to savor the moment. Sanguinius then gripped a hold of Angron's butcher's nails. Angron, realizing too late he was doomed. As Sanguinius pulled, Angron felt true pain, true mortal agony. Worst of all, he became momentarily lucid, realizing what he had become and begging Sanguinius to stop, before the nails were torn out, with Angron's brains coming out along with it, banishing his brother. Sanguinius would never properly heal from the wound Angron gave him, not until his dying breath. So those were all the Siege of Terror banishments, but how...
So, Sanguinius pulled out the butcher's nail, so I guess when a Demon Primarch comes back, they just kind of like reset, you know? Alright, nails are right back in, you're good to go, you know? Okay, so I guess... Alright.
How have the traitors gone since then? Well, Mortarion would be banished once again. After fighting and slaughtering a squad of Grey Knights, including the leader of the chapter, Kalador motherfucking Drago appears, became randomly overpowered, figured out Mortarion's true name, and then used it to disable the Demon Primarch. He then carved the name of his forebearer into Mortarion's heart before banishing him. Very embarrassing.
Damn.
In a similar vein, during the first War for Armageddon, Angron was ripping some Space Wolf and Grey Knight tits open. However, the Grey Knight Hyperion managed to block Angron's sword and with a mighty burst of willpower, shattered it. Angron was then banished by the Grey Knights. Magnus also felt the unlubed cock of the Grey Knights. In his recent invasion of Fenris, one of many because he just can't seem to
Don't mess
get
with
over
the Grey
Crossroad,
Knights.
Get over it, Magnus. He was struck by Logan Grimnar with his Cornite axe, weakening him enough for a squad of Grey Knights to banish him. So the Emperor knew that with himself and his loyalist sons gone, the Imperium needed something that could handle Demon Primarchs. Thus the Grey Knights were created. They've been one of the only reliable things that can defeat and banish Demon Primarchs. Now there has been a few times where Traitor Primarchs were almost banished, but not quite, which may confuse some people, so I wanted to go over those quickly. During Rylanor's last stand, where Rylanor detonated a virus bomb in Fulgrim's face, Fulgrim wasn't actually banished. Yes, he ate shit, but his body regenerated where it was blown up. Banishment is when they're sent screaming into the warp to be reformed. In a similar vein, during the siege, when Angron got blasted by 1,000 guns at once and atomized,
like a critical hit or something like that,
wasn't
sends him to the warp.
Likewise, Corvus kicking Lorgar's ass in the Eye of Terror wasn't a banishment. It was Lorgar running away and then sealing a portal to keep Corvus out. There have also been times where Magnus has attacked Fenris and been driven off rather than banished. In Mortarion and Guilliman's recent fight, Morty wasn't technically banished. More so, he was grabbed by Nurgle and put in the naughty corner. Based off this, it appears that Perturabo, Lorgar, and Fulgrim have never been banished. In the current setting, Khorne is ascendant and has gained new powers, one of which is that whenever Angron is banished, he's able to be unbanished very quickly, like 2 months or so later. Usually it takes hundreds or even thousands of years. So the Imperials have to spend obscene amounts of effort and resources killing Angron, shit like orbital strikes, titans, and so on, only for him to reappear soon after. It's unclear how many times he's been banished, but it has to have been a few for people to realize he can now
Thousands of years
unbanish
later.
himself. However, the big recent banishment we are aware of is when he fought the newly returned Lion. Angron was a powerhouse by this point, turbocharged since destroying the Coral engine. If it wasn't for the Emperor's shield, which reflected enemy attacks back onto themselves, the Lion would have been fucked. Eventually, he manages to stab his brother in the throat and then bash his brains out with the shield, banishing Angron and adding another tally to this list. So as of right now, Fulgrim has just re-entered the setting and is due for his first ban.
Do you think the Lion could have won without the shield? And just like a two-handed whatever weapon he had? There you go. Food for thought.
Banishment, Perturabo is playing video games, Lorgar is still hiding from Korax, Mortaran is in a cummy Mothjar in Nurgle's mansion, Magnus is rebuilding Prospero, and Angron is about to reform after his latest banishment. Basically, the traders have died a lot, and with Gilliman and the line back in action, their ass-kicking has only just begun. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up a pre-painted Major Mini, either a custom one using our new premium service, or one of our discounted pre-painted minis, of which there are like 5 left. Hit the subscribe button and the little subscribe button for more Banished content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, so there we go. That was pretty cool to learn all about the different banishments and stuff like that. So, yeah, Sanguinius and Angron fighting and stuff like that. Like, damn, that one sounded like a insane battle, like slicing off his face and stuff like that. Like, jeez, ripping out the butcher's nails. So the first time he actually felt pain, and very interesting of him, Sanguinius, you know, just like what was he saying, like caressing his cheek or something like that. And yeah, that's insane. And then the Khan, like, damn, didn't know how badass he was, and didn't really know how badass. I knew Vulcan was badass, but, like, damn, like, down to just a skeleton, like, damn. That must have been terrifying. Just imagine just seeing just a skeleton with whatever weapon you know, Vulcan is carrying, I think the hammer and stuff like that, and then just wrecking house as a skeleton with a hammer. Like, damn. Man, Vulcan, I think it'd be pretty cool to see him return to the setting once again. I don't know, could he be the next Loyalist Primarch to return? Do you think, actually, here you go, do you think they're returning too many Primarchs too quickly? Because it kind of seems like they got too many things, you know, kind of going, you know, all at once. You know, it was like, all right, cool, we got Vashtor, and I mean, he's got a pretty cool model and stuff like that. All right, cool, he was doing stuff, and things were happening, he was attacking the rock, and then the Lion came back. Vashtor gets pushed to the side, you know, okay, you go sit over there, here's the new shiny thing, like I said earlier. Now we got the Lion. Lion's doing all really cool stuff and fighting Angron and stuff like that. Oh, here's Fulgrim. You go sit over there. Here's the new shiny thing now. So it's like, all right, well, what's going on with, like, Vashtor? What's he doing? Is he just like, I'll do something soon, you know? Is he just twiddling his thumbs waiting to go? Or, like, you know, what's up with him? You know, he got pushed to the side, you know, so I don't know. Do you think they were just bringing back too many Primarchs too quickly? Or do you like the pace that they're doing them at? And then who do you think is going to be the next Loyalist Primarch to return? Could it be Vulcan? I've heard maybe Russ, or even the Khan. Let me know which one you think is going to return next, and which one would you like to have return next. Let me know. So anyways, on that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button, that'd be awesome. Remember, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And of course, other than that, yeah, if you guys have any videos you want me to check out, let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll be happy to make a video on it. But other than that, just stick around. More videos are on the way, and I will see you guys next time.